your pony knowledge wide. Oh, better. I got a place where winning ain't tough to do. You wanna be cool, stable do. Your horse racing fantasy come true. But no, stable do.
Download the Stable Duel app and play today.
We are back another Friday morning with This Weekend in Stable Duel. I say it, when we miss a week, it feels like I don't talk to you. I haven't seen you in years, my friend. We got the sniper, Barry Spears. We miss our buddy, Matt DeSantis, this morning. If you want to see what Matt's got going on, you can go check out @Failed to Menace. Matt will be back with us next week, because next week will be a big one as we lead into the Preakness next week. But Barry, we actually found out some news yesterday that the Kentucky Derby winner won't be running in the Preakness. The one thing that I'm choosing to do nowadays in responding to like news, I'm gonna really take the whole like let it play out approach, because I feel like in the last 5 years, every time I've immediately responded to something with like oh wow, that was great, a few days later or a week later, I've been made to look stupid. And then on the flip side, if you get a little too cynical sometimes, then we look back afterwards and go, oh, maybe that wasn't quite as bad as like the Pitchfork group all like went after everybody right away. So we know that the Derby winner won't be running in the Preakness. I'm not sure if is it great for the horse if he isn't ready to run. Sure, to me, it sort of feels weird. Like there's a little more underlying there than just him not wanting to run in that race. But again, I'll see in a few weeks if he does show up in the Belmont and he runs there, then we'll see. But yesterday, as we were talking about, was like a strange news day in the world of horse racing. There was a lot going on.
Yeah, dark days tend to do that. I mean, it wasn't necessarily a dark day, but it wasn't, like a main racing day. So yeah, it tends to pile up as far as news, and then the hot takes on Twitter. There's just so many.
They're funny. They're funny. And especially, as I say, early in the week though, on those Mondays and Tuesdays, that's usually when some of the fun stuff pops up. And what's great is that any day of the week, anytime that there's racing going on somewhere, that you can play a Stable Duel game. There's always Stable Duel games Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday on the weekends. So coming up this weekend, you've got opportunities to play at Pimlico, at Gulfstream. There's a free ride at Hawthorne today. You've got Santa Anita, Lone Star, and Woodbine. Saturday, Gulfstream, Pimlico, Lone Star, Santa Anita, Hawthorne, Monmouth, and then Sunday, Gulfstream, Pimlico, Hawthorne, and Santa Anita. On this show, Barry and myself will help you out a little bit with Gulfstream for Friday and Saturday, Santa Anita for Friday and Saturday. And we'll always be using those daily racing form past performances. We can pull them on up, and we encourage you to head on over to drf.com. You can actually get free formulator when you sign up for DRF bets. Use the promo code WINNING and take advantage of the bonus offer that they have. So Barry, my man, you usually like to start out in Florida. We take advantage of home field and home court advantage. You and I,
absolutely.
Right? So, let's
Ricky Henderson.
Exactly.
Ricky.
You start at Gulfstream, and then we'll head on over to Santa Anita, and we'll go a little back and forth. So tell us where we want to go for Friday for Gulfstream Park.
Friday, the first one is race 5.
Race 5 Friday at Gulfstream Park, and we're going to be pulling up those past performances. You just head to drf.com and check them out. Where do we want to go, Barry?
Well, this is an optional claimer for $12,500, and this is kind of a typical non-championship meet race where these horses kind of are beating up on each other, and there seems to be a lot of speed in here. If you look at the past performances, you have the 1 that kind of shows some speed. The 2 has definitely shown some speed in the past. The 3 might want to go out and try to force the pace a little bit. The 5 doesn't really want to, and that's your morning line favorite. But I kind of don't want any part of that horse, to be honest with you, at a very short price. And then you have the 9 who who definitely wants probably to get out there, and the 7 Miss Big Spring. So that leads me to my
A lot
pick,
of
who is
speed.
number 6, is Vitami. I guess that's how you say that.
Yeah.
This horse was picked up off the claim last time on March 24th. Um, off a pretty lengthy layoff from December 30th. Uh, didn't run all that great. Didn't run bad. Burned up some money at 70 cents on the dollar, which was a really really low price. But this spot seems a lot better,
Yep.
especially off the claim, first off the bench. This barn has great numbers first off the claim, and gets Edgar Prado, who's the consummate professional, and it just sets up here. This horse doesn't want the lead. I don't believe, has some back class and back races to go back to, that would fit any one
Very
of those
well.
races from 2021, like September, the summer really, when the horse got good. I think they're kind of leaning that same direction. At 12-1, not going to break your bank in any kind of stable dual action, but definitely worth a play here.
This is one of our go-to moves with the turn back from a mile to like the 6.5 or 7 also, where you
Love
can
it.
sit a little bit and you're drawn to the outside, and you've got like a second start off the bench situation like this too. Just another instance where this 7-year-old mare, she checks a lot of the boxes that you're looking for, when you're looking to play a horse, and she's 12-1 in stable duel. She's not going to cost you a whole heck of a lot, only $750 to use in your lineup. That's Vitami for the sniper for Barry Spears over at Gulfstream Park. So you've got a few at Gulfstream Park, so you lead the way. Tell us wherever else you want to go on Friday.
On Friday, we're going to go to the 8th race.
Okay. We're heading to the synthetic here for a first level allowance.
Yeah, again, people tend to kind of not like the synthetic, and I like it because there's a lot of chaos that goes on. I mean,
I do too.
It seems like the bettors are slowly getting accustomed to it, and the prices haven't been so wildly crazy, but there's still that potential because you're still getting horses that have never been on it before, especially in South Florida. Not so much those Woodbine shippers that you see every once in a while, and a lot of those horses have kind of went back up north. But I landed on number 5, I Believe in Magic. I think this horse really, really improves on the stretch out and then getting synthetic. I mean, probably the improvement is more attributed to his second start rather than the surface, but showing that this horse can run on that surface doesn't hurt either. There's really not much in here. The horses that have run recently that are kind of low on the morning line here, like the 7 Exchange Day. I mean, how can you trust that horse? I mean, the horse just goes to the lead every time and quits late.
I know.
Like literally every single time, and this horse is 5-2 on the morning line. Probably will take a lot of action.
All the way up to a mile also.
It just doesn't matter. Just the same trip every time.
Yeah.
Even the 3 Cash in a Flash, I know that horse won for 40,000 maiden claimer, but stepping up into winners is always a tough task, and it's just not much to grab onto here. And I just thought that race on April 9th for the 5 was competitive with these, especially at a higher level, going against winners after breaking the maiden the first time. Ran really well. So I think this horse fits this condition very, very well. The other horses that have been running and have recency don't really do it for me. It's just not, the 2 Meteorito doesn't look all that great. Ran a couple bang up races, was claimed back to back, or actually 3 times in a row. I'm not sure about that horse either. I mean, kind of showed some speed the last time, but I'm really that horse is too inconsistent for me to kind of like, and kind of tends to burn money. So we're gonna go with this 5 here.
So a very important question to ask you: do you believe in magic in a young girl's heart, where the rhythm? Barry believes in magic, baby. That always reminds me of American Pie. The first American Pie.
Yes,
It's the song
yes.
that they're singing in the Glee Club or the jazz. Chris
That's
Pratt or
right.
Chris Klein is it? Yeah, there he's in there and
Yes.
shooby dooby doo wop ooh magic, ooh yeah ooh magic, and they're all laughing
Uh,
at him.
oh
So,
man, that's.
I believe in magic for the sniper, the number 5 at
I know.
Gulfstream
I
Park.
can't believe is how old that movie is now.
Right? I
Oh,
know. You look down and then because now you got American Pie 1, 2, 3, you got The Wedding, and you start looking
oh,
at all the made for the ones that just went straight to video. There's American Pie, The Naked Mile, and there American Pie that just a bunch of them all the way. But those first few were pretty fun, and it does make you feel quite old. I know you're always in the Get Out race. Do you have one more on Friday or
no, that's it.
okay, just those
I
two
got
for
some
Friday?
get outs for
Okay.
Santa Anita though.
So let's head over to Santa Anita for Friday. We'll talk some Santa Anita for Friday and for Saturday. As any day that there's some racing going on over at Santa Anita, I'll always have some selections there. It's nice, Barry. I'm the last year or so has been starting to be very good for some of the racetracks that I've been working with and sort of stacking up some connections with Santa Anita, Sam Houston, Louisiana Downs now. So you'll see coverage over at Louisiana Downs. I'm helping out on the broadcast over there. And at Santa Anita, I actually thought this weekend there were some decent price opportunities. Sometimes we can get a little chalky at Santa Anita, and it's sort of tough to find. But I will start on. I'm going to start in the 5th race. Do you have anything earlier on Friday?
I do race
Okay.
4.
Okay, let's go to race number 4 and tell us about who you're looking at. We have a $32,000 claimer, 7 furlongs on the dirt here at Santa Anita.
Yeah, and I went to number 4, Zimba Warrior at 8-1 on the morning line. There seems to be a lot of speed here also, and that's kind of my play here is this horse doesn't want to be on the lead, can close, probably more of a one-run closer type. Although this horse getting back to 7 furlongs, I think is a lot better than the mile trip that he was getting, back in March, and then before that in January ran a pretty good race under Drayden Van Dyke at a big price. I just think this horse kind of fits the spot. Octopus is a very good horse for the level. Was claimed last time. Has a lot of speed. There's so much speed in here. Like synthesis. Excuse me. The 3 has a ton of speed. Even the 1 Offshore Fair. So I think this horse can settle into a nice trip. I mean, the horse isn't really too far back most of the time, and I think this distance probably fits a lot better. But the buyer speed figures fit, and I think this horse is going to get a good run at it.
So we're talking race number 4. I think one of the real keys to the race and just handicapping this full card is the 1 and what they do. Because like you said, there's a lot of speed in this race. And if Offshore Affair, I like him a little bit, not necessarily as much in a stable duel spot at 7-2, but if he is around 7-2, he kind of fits. But the real key, if he was drawn outside, I'd love him. Just the type of horse that we were talking about who can cut back a little bit from 7. But if he gets forced from the rail, he could make the whole race change. If he goes from the inside and then everybody else goes, and then your 4 is really getting a great setup here. And so I'm, as a fan of Offshore Affair, I'm hoping he can kind of secure a nice cozy spot. But I think you've got the horse that's really going to benefit because there does look like there's a really good amount of speed in here. So Zimba Warrior, 8-1 for Barry on the number 4 Zimba Warrior in race number 4 today at Santa Anita.
Okay, that race kind of, it looks like that horse is almost like the lone closer in a race full of horses that want to go to the lead. Even the 6 kind of has been forwardly placed quite a bit too. So it's just one of those kind of reverse situations where lone speed. This is the lone closer. Works just as well sometimes.
Let's move along to race number 5, one next door. We'll go 6 furlongs on the turf course here. Now, keep in mind that on Friday at Santa Anita, there's only 8 races, so there'll probably be situations where you may have to double up. And in a small field like this might be one of them, because I'm looking at a horse that I think will run pretty well in here at a pretty big price. That's the 2 Olympic Legend. And, if you look at Olympic Legend's overall turf form, it's really not that bad. I mean, this horse is a horse who, for Luis Mendez, what generally happens with this trainer is they're very good early. We are seeing, as he's brought a string over to Keeneland, he's excellent with horses that are 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds or lightly raced horses. And then what generally happens is you can get those horses ready to go, but they're like precocious. They're ahead of everybody else, but then usually they're like private purchases. They go to a different barn, and then those barns can develop them a little bit better along the way. Olympic Legend is a horse who has that same speed that he's shown early, but I think in this turf sprint situation, dropping in class with the inside draw, it'll kind of force him a little bit more to really go. He was sitting last time out, and a horse like this trying to sit on the turf, it's just not going to work for him. He's fast. He's got to try to go. He's got to be up in the mix forwardly placed. In his last group, he faced a pretty tough field. The second place finisher that day was named Smuggler's Run. That horse came back to win the $150,000 Calbred Echo Eddie Stakes. There was another horse in there named Echo Smith, and Echo Smith was the horse that I gave out and finished second at a pretty nice price. It was like 15-1, got bet down that day and ended up going off at like 6-1 and ran a really nice second. So this race that he comes out of too with Do It for Andrew, this isn't a bad horse who came back and ran third. Shut Up Michael is another one who's not bad at all. So I just thought that's a way tougher group than he's facing here in this $50,000 claimer. He's drawn down towards the inside. He's going to send Olympic Legend at 15-1 is only going to cost you $500 in your stable duel lineup. And then if he goes and Whooping J is the other speed, let's say that they end up pushing each other, City Rage is kind of interesting because he exits a race that's really come back live. We've seen, look at this one, Burning Turf came out of it, and
Gold
he's won
Phoenix
3 in a row. Gold Phoenix was your runner-up. He came back to win and then was third in the Grade 2 Whittingham. You go farther down, you see Southern Horse came back to win, $32,000 claimer. You see New Park was in that race. He came back to win, and he's won back-to-back races. And even behind them, Constitution Affair way down at the bottom. He came back to win. So this has become an ultra live race. I think this race I'll probably double up in stable duel, Barry. I think I probably end up using the 2 who's going to be more up on the front and a speed player. And then I'll use the 5 who will be coming from the back. And he can sit a little bit in here too. I just had bad beginnings in his last 2. So it seems like he's a deeper closer than he really is. I'm going to end up going 2 and 6 and double up in this race here in the 5th at Santa Anita.
Yeah, that's a wide open race, I think, a lot more than what the morning line suggests. Horse I actually liked a little bit here was the 1 Rookie Mistake. Second time off the claim, off a layoff. So, I think this horse showed some talent way back in October when off the layoff from January. Ran a real bang up race in a race that's probably a little bit better than this one. So I'd give that one a look too.
I think you used that horse that day too, when he was second at
Yes.
beating a nose. I think
Yeah,
we
I
were
did.
on one of our shows. You had him and he ran really, really well and just
I
missed
did.
that day. Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
was
keep
in January.
Yep. Keep an eye on Rookie Mistake. It makes a lot of sense in here too. That's race number 5. We can just continue along for the next few because I've got horses in the final 3 that I would like to at least mention. So in race number 6, do you have anything
one
here?
and 6. Yes.
Okay, where do you want to go for race 6?
I landed on Super Chief, first time starter.
Oh, we're on the same one here. Awesome.
Nice. Yeah, it's just, what really stuck out to me is, first of all, the horses that have run are not anything special here. Dutch Bus I didn't like when he won the last time on April 9th. Didn't like the horse that day. One got DQ'd, placed second anyway, which kind of was a bad DQ if I recall. They don't look all that great or spectacular. So, I'm leaning towards a first time starter. I kind of looked at the 9 a little bit, but the 7 seems to be improving. I mean, at least from what I can see on the paper here. March 19th, you see the 5 furlong work from the gate at 101 and 3. Then on April 10th, 1 minute flat, or 1 minute and 2/5 Hanley from the gate, which is an improvement. And then you see the latest one on May 6th, 59 and 2 Hanley from the gate, which suggests to me that this horse has some talent. There's some ability there. And then, one of the angles I like to use a lot is the longest, fastest gate work prior to a race in the field. And this one owns that with that May 6th bullet.
I'm not like a workout expert or anything.
Me neither.
I don't pretend.
I leave that to my man Bruno.
Yeah, like I don't pretend to be. I worked with him for a while. There's some really sharp people out there, but you can watch some of these works on XB TV. That May 6th work, there was a little something there, just visually watching. And so what I like to look at for this particular barn, a couple things. One, let's take a look at the pedigree. When we're using these DRF formulator past performances, what's awesome is one click and we look at the pedigree. So we see the dam was a multiple winner. It wasn't like she was a monster or anything, but she won 3 times. Always like to see. And this is the first foal from a winning dam. So first foal, winning dam, positive. Now, workouts, positive. A pretty solid tab. And visually, watching the work, I thought this horse was better and had a little something. So check the box of the work. Now, let's take a look at the barn with first-time starters and see how well they do. So we can click right on the trainer's name, and then we can customize any of the statistics that we want. That's why this formulator is so great. We can click on the days between the starts, and we just go to first-time starters here, and then we pop it up. So 0 for 4 with first-time starters in the relevant last couple of years. So in anything in the relevant time period. But when I see a barn like this that's only had 4, Barry, and they haven't had a big number, I'm not really willing to say that they just can't win with the first-time starter, right? Because they haven't had that many. So what I like to do is I like to check a couple other things. Because for me, a first-time starter is kind of like bringing a horse off a layoff, right? Like you got to get them prepared the same way. So I like to end up looking at if trainers can get these horses, how well they can do getting horses ready off of a long layoff. So what I end up doing is if I see a sample size like that with a barn that doesn't have a bunch of firsters, I always go and I look, how do they do with horses over a 60-day layoff? And then I apply the filters. And then all of a sudden you see that this barn has won with a couple of those. They're 2 for their last 12 with horses that have come off of a 61+ day layoff. In fact, they just recently won with a horse named Rapid Transit, who had not run in a long time, hadn't run from December to March, came back in March, won that race at 7-1, going wire to wire against $20,000 claimers. So, I mean, is that a perfect way of looking at it? No. But you and I are looking at a horse for a barn that has a fine enough pedigree to fit in a race where we don't really think much of everybody else, in a race where visually the workout has been fine. This barn is actually having a pretty nice meet. Their horses are firing really well, and they can perform well off the layoff. Does it kind of make sense why I look at those statistics for a barn like that?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a million ways to skin a cat, as they say. And, clearly we kind of landed on the same horse for a lot of reasons that overlap. But, there's always another way. You know what I mean? There's somebody sees something else that maybe we don't see and ends up on the same horse. I think the tote board is going to tell us really early what they think about that 7.
I agree. So we're talking in race number 6, Super Chief. Barry and me both on the number 6 in here as we continue rolling along through our Friday Santa Anita cart. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, folks. We'll be here with you every Friday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time, 7 a.m. Pacific time for this weekend in Stable Duel. Next weekend is a big one because Stable Duel has games for the Preakness next Saturday. So we will be talking about that Pimlico Saturday card a little bit right here with our buddy Matt DeSantis. Give him a follow at Fail to Menace over on Twitter. So race number 7, Barry, as we continue along, I thought on paper this was a race that had a pretty good amount of speed here. And
Oh yeah.
the horse that I'm going to look to is to the outside. I'm going to the 8, Little Grazin. And mainly because I think she's going to finally find a field where she can get a little bit of pace to run at. She's pretty honest. She usually fires a really nice shot, but in these smaller fields in Southern California, she's at the mercy of racing luck. And in her last couple starts, you can see she's off a little slow. 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 And when you're off slow and you're chasing lone speed or there's not a lot of pace to set up, she's in some trouble. But she's come out of some pretty productive races. 2 starts back, she was behind Busy Painter, Take a Leap, Chalima. All of those horses came out of that race to win their next start. And Little Grazin, 3 starts back, was behind Bella Ranella. Bella Ranella came out of that race to win the next start. So did California Cool. So another race with multiple next out winners. And she finally just catches that group because look to her inside. You've got Teddy's Barino. This one's going to be forwardly placed. You've got Pray for My Owner. They're going to be right on the front end. I think Drizella will probably sit a little bit, but they don't want to be too far. Race Judicata, they're going for sure. And Luxury Liner with the rail draw, they're probably going to be forced. There might be 4, 5 horses in this field of 8 flashing some speed. And I think this mare, she's 8 now, a little bit hidden because she doesn't have a whole bunch of wins recently on the page, but she exits some live races. In her last start, you can even watch, she was basically done early, right off the bat. So she's the 5 in this race. And she gets squeezed back at the inside, and then it's pretty much over. For her in a race like this. Like she's the
There
5,
you
know,
it.
and it's like
You're done.
Oh, okay.
Especially
So
out there in California.
Right?
You gotta get position early.
So she moves like to the inside and she kind of tries to run up the inside. But like the horse who wins the race is the 4, respectfully. Like look at the difference between where she's sitting and where the 4 is sitting, you know? So I just feel like get a little bit of a better start for her today. Vasquez has sort of quietly been riding really well now. You know, he's almost up to around 20%. Took him a few weeks, like anyone, when you make a move to just start getting those live mounts. From the sounds of it, I think it sounds like Peter Miller is going to be coming back soon. So we might need to see if Alvarado can get as many possible wins before he's back to an assistant there. Little Grazin for me, Sniper. And I've got one more in the 8th. Did you have anything in this one?
No, in the 8th also. The bailout.
Okay, so
bailout.
So Little Grazin at 12-1, another instance where she's not going to cost you a whole heck of a lot. And I'm hoping she gets a great setup here as we move along to the 8th and final on this Friday. Santa Anita card. Tell us where you want to go.
Well, I actually, kind of switched up here, and I'm going to use 2, although I like one more than the other, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
The horse that I like is the 5, A Mad World. You like that one too?
We're on the same one. And again, there were a few today where this reminds me of All Around the World, Familiar Faces.
There you go.
It's Mad World, baby. Mad World, little Donnie Darko. Worn Out Places. So tell us a little bit about why we're playing a Mad World.
Almost it's one of those races where, I kind of landed on this horse by attrition. Everybody else looks so bad.
100%. I did the same exact thing. It's one of those absolutely where you just start eliminating horses, and this one feels like the one with the most upside.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the 8 tic-tac-toe, tiz-tac-toe, just kind of runs around there a lot, doesn't really do much, not really threatening from a win perspective. The only time this horse has ever come close to winning was August 5th of last year, and still wasn't really that close to winning. Burned up money right after that, and just shows speed and fades every time. How is this horse 5-2? If people play him,
not for me.
Hey, more power to him, but I just can't get on board. Then you have 911 Turbo, who kind of does the same thing, and burns a lot of money. I mean, if you look in 2021, There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times consecutively this horse was favored and lost.
Yeah.
That's
How do you get confident playing a horse like this
exactly
at a short price?
right. And everybody else doesn't look good. The two just looks horrible. Candy for Caramel kind of caught my eye a little bit with the surface switch. Ran a little bit improved, but still nothing to grab onto or to say, hey, this horse looks like they might be rounding in the form or anything like that. And the rest of them just kind of have, just a lot of cracks at it and just haven't gotten it done. And this one doesn't seem to have as many knocks. Only one race at $150,000 claiming price. This barn does well with surface switches and second time out. I mean, why not at 8-1? Stable Duel is perfect. And then the other horse that I do kind of like a little bit that forms a little bit muddied up is the One. Explain This Audit. This horse ran a pretty good race on January 14th. Just finishing a neck behind the winner, then paired it up, stepping up in class slightly into a maiden special weight, and then last time kind of got off slow and was wide and just non-effort. So I can completely forgive that. Getting a little bit of break in the weight too, which definitely helps, but I would use both of these horses.
So the
The one
five,
and the
just
five,
to piggyback, yeah, just to piggyback on your point a little bit more with Mad World, that one's gonna be in my head for all around. I love that was on that commercial too with the video game.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good one. So this isn't like a monster pedigree or anything for this horse, but the thing that I really like we said, it's an upside and it's the race that they come out of. I'm expecting this horse to just improve quite a bit, but you have a slow start and you just have no shot. A lot of times we see these like maiden $150,000 claimers, like those are maiden special weight races. Those are basically maiden special weight races, especially when, the third place finisher Special Ride comes back and wins a maiden special weight next out by 7 with a 94 Beyer speed figure. The fourth place finisher, Ikagi, comes back and wins at Golden Gate. It's a big Beyer up at Golden Gate, an 85 Beyer speed figure there. So this race came back super live, and a Mad World just never got involved, never had a shot there. Now you go the big stretch out to a mile.
I think they knew that too. The horse was
right?
30-1.
It was
in a short field.
It was just to get the race under your belt because that race got them a lot than what they could have gotten in 4 or 5 workouts in the morning. Right. That amount of fitness. A Mad World 8-1 on the morning line will only cost you $3,000 in your Stable Duel lineup. So plenty of opportunities on Friday at Santa Anita. We found a lot of price opportunities out there, Barry, and I've got more for Saturday Santa Anita, but I know you've got at least a couple, 1 or 2 at Gulfstream, right, for Saturday?
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Let's head back on over to
race 1. Go to race 1. We got started
Saturday,
off.
and we don't have to go far. We go to race number 1. Tell us who we're looking at in the opener.
We are looking at, Ride on Beauty is the 4. That's the horse that I keyed in on here.
Nice.
Another one. It's just the horses that have run. These maiden races, all over the country. This is maiden 12-5, but when you see a bunch of horses just not winning or having a real opportunity to win and just don't close the door for whatever reason, I tend to gravitate to horses that have run less. They have less knocks on them, so to speak, when they do hit the track. And
in races like this, in like low level restricted claiming races, right? Like if you're non-2s, non-3s, I'm always trying to look for the horses with the most upside that haven't been beaten over and over again.
Yeah, and that I mean, you'd be amazed at how many times that actually happens. But this horse, Ride on Beauty, has been running over her head, I think. I think 35,000 was too much, although she ran really, really well on the synthetic that day. Then comes back and drops and goes longer, which is the trip I don't think she wants. And this is probably the perfect spot to get back on the dirt, going 6, I think this horse has enough speed, especially coming off that longer race, to kind of sit, not definitely be on the lead, but really close, forwardly placed, and get first run. And I think that might do it here because there's really not much. I mean, Bet on Drama kind of I gave a second look to, but that horse likes to quit. Irish Adventure got out there, didn't finish. Although that one is going back to the turf. I mean, I'm sorry, to the dirt, and might run a little bit better, but I can't grab onto that. This one, the 4 seems to be the one kind of in the right spot here. The rest of them, what do you do with a horse like the 7? Has 3 workouts from a barn that kind of pops first time out, but I can't trust that.
I know, there's just not enough to go off with that. It's the horse is sneaky, right?
Yeah, even the 9. I mean, they do well first time out. Ralph Nix is having a great meet so far. Since the championship meet ended, and he gets Top Rider too.
Yeah.
But that was the other thing is getting Top Rider. Getting Junior Alvarado to ride kind of indicates that this horse might be live.
Absolutely. Jose Garofalo trains Ride on Beauty, and in a spot like this, you've got at least some positional speed that could go a very, very long way. Lightly raced with some upside. Ride on Beauty for Barry, 8-1, only going to cost $3,000 in your stable duel lineup. Where else do you want to navigate the way to on Saturday at Gulfstream?
We are in race 6.
Okay, let's go to the
another maiden.
Another maiden race.
Yeah,
we've got maiden 40 claimers. Tell us where we're headed.
To the outside, Spiteful Sis with the apprentice. I think this horse is just training forwardly for this race. Again, another one. Not much in here as far as the horses that have run. I mean, I can't trust a horse like the 1 who is 2-1 on the morning line, although has been running with better company. I just don't like the rail draw. Going back from synthetic to dirt, I don't know why they ran on the synthetic in the first place. I just don't see that happening. Everybody else is kind of so. I mean, Lulu Run Lulu Run doesn't look like anything. Chaparral Pass, probably needs one. Read a book, same thing. Ran okay, first time on the dirt, or at this level on the dirt. Went to the turf. Not sure what the what the idea was trying that, but now drops back in. Likes to close. I think this horse is going to be too far back. Adios Baby showed a little speed last time, but tends to kind of fade a little bit. And I think the 8 might be able to stick with that horse up front early and kind of take over. I like everybody inside of this horse. I think this horse can go right to the lead.
What's funny is you got like a funny name exacta right next to each other. I'm already taken. Adios, baby. Right? It's like, geez, I thought you already broke up with me. Okay. Like, I got the picture. You don't got to rub it in. You don't got to rub it in with the 8 Spiteful Sis. We were talking about Michael Yates is a very, very capable first out barn. They'll get Lasix here for the debut. Spiteful Sis in race number 6 at Gulfstream Park on Saturday for Barry, 9-2. So cost you $6,500 in your stable dual lineup. Still not having to spend up a whole heck of a lot there. And while we are at Gulfstream still, you got anything else for us? You said you had to get out?
Absolutely. Race 8. No, not to get out in this one.
Okay.
Into Santa Anita.
Santa Anita's to get out. Okay.
Yeah. If you could pull up this race at the 9, dial him up.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is obviously this is the horse that I like. But you'll see that this horse is the 6 here. Basically just kind of loses everything slowly out of the gate. Just
you're done.
Really slow. Now watch, you can actually forward it a little bit to see how far back this horse gets. Not even in the picture.
Wow.
Not even in the picture here.
Yeah.
And you'll see way back there, second to last is the 6. And this
now he's coming into the picture
finish
here.
3rd. Yeah. Yes. Comes in to finish 3rd in this race and kind of blow by everybody, and the top 3 finishers were way clear of everybody else, like way clear.
Wow, yeah, this is a
but
lot of late
but I
energy
think this
here.
horse, I think this horse just needed that race. It was kind of green, was claimed by an outfit that's hitting right now at 67%, 4 for 6 at Gulfstream.
Yeah,
I think this one is,
live.
really live. Gets Edwin Gonzalez top rider. Um, I think all systems are go. I don't think there's any way you'll get 12-1 on this.
No
horse.
shot. If this horse is 5-1, right? Like that'll make sense.
Right.
A little bit more. Yeah. This is a good stable duel play for sure.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. This horse has a lot of potential, coming from behind. There's enough speed in here to keep everybody honest. And I think this one's going to come running, just as long as they don't more or less just blow the brake like they did last time. And even then, they still might come running.
That is the 9 Dial Me Up over at Gulfstream Park for Saturday, as Barry was dishing out some Gulfstream for Saturday, and we'll both head over to Santa Anita, talk a little Santa Anita. Do me a favor, Barry. I think check 1 or 2 of your chords. I think it was a little staticky a minute ago. If you can, just on your sound, you were sounding a little Mr. Roboto for like a second. I was going to do the robot over here for real quick. Let's bounce on over to Saturday and talk a little Santa Anita. And remember, next week we'll be talking about the Preakness, and we'll be talking about the second jewel of the Triple Crown. Barry, I gotta say, I felt bad for you. It did make me laugh a little seeing your video on social media, how you needed Epicenter to get there. But I did chuckle a little bit because misery loves company. We've all been in that situation before when we know that we're home and then there's some horse up the inside. But Epicenter, you'd imagine just early on, we're over a week out right now, but the way his running style is, and in a smaller field, you'd have to feel like he's going to be pretty tough in that race, right?
I'm not sure, especially if Erling Voting goes.
Yeah,
I think that horse might be potential lone speed, and might be able to wire him. That horse is awfully quick and almost a runoff. But if they can just kind of keep them together for almost half mile, I think that horse will be okay. But yeah, Epicenter's definitely would be the horse to beat, because he's tactical. He can be up front, kind of close a little bit. I still like my 2 horses, Epicenter and Simplification.
Yeah,
I don't know, Simplification.
They ran great.
Yeah,
they
I'm still
both
on
ran,
those 2.
and I think Simplification Epicenter showed me a little too. It's not that his trip was bad, but he was a little farther back. He didn't get like a sit right off of the lead type trip. He kind of had to close and pick up some pieces, and I was impressed. I thought it was that some of the top horses did prove that they, I think they should be in that top tier. As
well, it's not many times you see in a race like the Kentucky Derby or the Kentucky Derby itself where a horse ran, a race like that and lost.
Yeah, normally that's the winning. Exactly,
right,
that's the winning move.
That's the winning move.
Yep. Let's make a couple winning moves at Santa Anita on Saturday. I'm gonna head on over to the 3rd. And I'm going to take a look at the number 5, Girl Ranger. So Girl Ranger has been on the grass twice. They're going to go 6 furlongs on the turf course here. And the 2 starts that Girl Ranger has been on the grass, we can take a look. So one of them was on March the 12th. Girl Ranger is the number 4 that day. Hey, Frankie, the voice of Frank Miramati out there, good friend, shared a pizza with Mr. Miramati many a times. So Girl Ranger's the 4, and we'll see, just not like a brutal beginning or anything, but kind of just taken back a little bit right here. So the 4 actually had a fine start, but took back a little bit out of that tight spot to track and was behind horses, and now ends up. I just don't like it when you're in between like that. And it's not as if it was like a bad ride or anything. It was kind of sort of unlucky. The horse just kind of pulled himself back up in between horses. And so now she's just kind of going to be in between and like right up on the heels of a horse in front of her. You just got nowhere to go.
Worst trip in horse racing, to be
right?
honest with you.
Because you're like bouncing around and your horse is not comfortable, and you have to end up like backing up. Just you have to, because you can't go forward. You can't ask for more. You have to just sort of let up, and just back up and back up and back up. And so now, she's backing up again, and she's backing up again, and then finally right about here, it looks like she wants to try to move through, but unfortunately she can't really get around because that horse is still on her outside, kind of pinning her in a little bit. She couldn't get up and around the 3 like she wanted to right there. Now she can. It took a little while for her to actually get up and around. She's got a little bit of room here, and even now she's still she was sort of like in between horses. She still had to work. And I like that she got really determined. She ended up losing to a horse that day that actually, I think we gave out Beachgrass at like a pretty nice price. And I thought she was a pretty clear second. This was her first start in a couple months. And anything like building off of that would be fine. And then she comes back in her next start. And again, it's just bad start and she's done. If we're playing her off of her March race and hoping for a little progression off of that, well, yeah, she fits pretty well. And you get Juan Hernandez jumping aboard. She's going to be making her 3rd start of the form cycle right now. I think there's still a little bit of upside on the grass. I like the 5 in here, Barry. Girl Ranger. She's 6-1 on the morning line. That's perfect. That's right at that Stable Duel $5,000 average.
Yeah, I thought that horse was dangerous in the spot too. The jock the last time had to wait, to slow not even slow the horse down, but just had to wait to get around that 3 horse, and then ended up running in between horses again. I think this is a better spot, probably get a better ride too.
Much better spot, it looks like, on paper. So as we continue along through the Saturday Santa Anita card, where were you looking for your plays today?
6 and 9, race 6
and race 9. Okay, I'll mention one in the 5th before we get there then, just along the way in the Santa Barbara, because this is a race in Stable Duel where Queen Goddess is 6-5. A lot of people will probably play Queen Goddess. You've got the other horse that's going to take a lot of money. That's Niji Blanche, and they'll both take a ton of money. What I think is going to happen though in this race is Queen Goddess got the better trip last time out because she sat a lot closer and she moved early. And I don't think that Niji Blanche is going to let that happen this time. Like she can sit a little bit closer than she sat last out. They just went really fast. There was kind of a runoff there. And I don't think that's going to happen in here. I think they're going to try to be a lot more aggressive with Niji Blanche. So I can see the 1 and 4, not like dueling with each other, but just cat and mouse, like playing, putting a little pressure and making sure to keep an eye on one another. And then I also think Cover Version, who's stretching out of some sprint races, why aren't they going to be on the lead or close to it? I feel like that's their only chance to really win a race like this, is to be forwardly placed and to try to get out front. Maybe you can hang on for a slice. So I feel like now all of a sudden it's not the biggest field in the world. And there might be 3 of these horses that want to be like jockeying for position. If that's the case, I'm like eliminating some of these others. So I'm going to eliminate the 5 just from a pace standpoint and a class standpoint. I think she may be up close early, but I don't know if she's good enough to hang around. So she won't be on the ticket. The 1 and the 4, they're way too much for me to spend in a race like this. They won't be the play. Now, New Heat, I actually played New Heat last time out. Her slow starts over and over are just starting to become a little bit of a problem, like every single time.
5 in a row.
Right? Every time now. And she's up to 15 starts. She's a 5-year-old mare. So it's not as if like we can even hope for some upside there. I'm by process of elimination getting to the 3, Queen of the Temple, because I'm looking at everything that she's done, and she's never done anything wrong.
No.
She debuted at Keeneland in a turf sprint. She ran well that day after a slow start, fast closing 3rd. She came from double-digit lengths out of it. She comes back in her 2nd start, changes barn. She comes into the Dan Blacker barn at Del Mar going a mile. She's 2nd. Then she returns. She doesn't run from September to May. So obviously some physical issues. She shows back up off that long of a layoff going 6.5, and she runs great at 14-1. She runs second. Then again, she has something goes wrong because she doesn't run from May all the way to March of this year. She shows back up, and in her first start off of that long layoff, she runs a bang-up race. Again, she runs second, just beaten. She stretches out to 1 1/8 miles. She wins impressively. Now, are her figures a little bit low when you compare to the top horses in here? Yeah, but she's got a ton of upside. Every time she's been on the track, she showed her ability. Her only problem is she's not really been able to stay on the track. She's had to race and then lay off and then race and then lay off. And now she's finally going to put 3 starts together. I don't like a couple of the other horses in this race. And the way I'm seeing it shape up, she feels like she's a horse with a lot of upside in here. She's 6-1 on the morning line. That's going to cost you $3,000. The Blacker Barn's been having a fantastic meet. They're spotting their horses really, really well. I like Queen of the Temple in here, Barry, in race number 5. I think this is just a race where a lot of people might look at, it's a chalky race. Let's just go with the 2 chalks in here. But if you dig into this race a little bit, and if speed figures weren't a thing, like if you're just playing horses off their races and there wasn't that number there, this horse would look a lot better on paper than the 70s probably don't stack up with, the buyers that are like the high 80s and low 90s of maybe a horse like Queen Goddess or maybe Aniji Blanche on the best. But just from what she's done on the track, I don't have a whole lot of knocks for her.
No, I mean, other than the experience and at this level, that's the only separator.
Mm-hmm. And how good is she, right? And I guess the question that I'll ask is, after Queen Goddess and Niji Blanche, is it even that classy of a group, right? Those 2 might be the real class. And then after that, she probably stacks up pretty well with the others. So if she can get the trip, let's see if Queen of the Temple can make a little noise here in race number 5. But we're going to move along to race number 6 for Barry. Tell us who you're looking at in the 6th race, Barry. Maiden $40,000 claimers.
We're looking at number 5, Violent
Oh,
Runner.
we did it again. We did it again. Oops,
we gotta cash with one of these, right?
We got to. Matt's not here this weekend, so I had to just like the telekinesis in my head. I had to figure out who you were gonna play. I closed my eyes. I was like, let's see. Okay, so let's talk about Violent Runner in here, Barry.
Yeah, I like the gaudy numbers of the trainer.
Yep.
Second time out on this kind of layoff, I can totally throw out the last race. I don't know if you want to pull that up, but kind of blew it at the break and didn't have a chance. And everybody else, the 4 does look a little bit interesting. I almost picked that one. But yeah, this kind of tells all the story right there, and you see the
first time out, sprinting, you're just done. And now you're checked
dead last.
So this horse not only had a slow start, then got stuck in traffic, squeezed back, and checked back out of it. So that was in the debut. Violent Runner. And
right, and it's one of those situations like we've talked about before, is where horses that do that, and they're young and they're first, second time out, they'll wrap them up.
Yep.
And pretty much not even try, and that's what the sense I got of that trip. And then the horse came back and has been training well ever since.
2 weeks later, March 30th, April 6th, April 13th, April 20th, clockwork every 7 days.
And been training well. So I think this one is in the right spot at the right time. I'm not really enthusiastic about the 1.
Right. Let's start eliminating, right? The 1, no thank you.
No thanks.
If they can beat me. The 2, both the Saddlers make sense. Like if you like the 2, I would tell you maybe this is a double up race, or both Saddlers, I wouldn't talk you off, because this one's probably the speed. He's really good first off the claim like this with maiden claimers. So no issues with the 2, but the 3 dropping in class, I'm not really excited to play this horse a whole lot. I mean, sure, she could beat me. You mentioned the 4, like there's some upside there with the 4, but she hasn't shown anything on the track either. And then the 6 is a first time starter. So start eliminating. in this
Yep.
field.
And I went with the longest price.
Yeah.
That's
You end up,
really where it happened.
yeah, he's 8-1, or she's 8-1. She's going to cost you 3,000. Couple things also to take a look at. You mentioned the Barnes awesome numbers with these. We saw the work pattern. So I love Violent Runner could run dead last, right? But for a gambler and a bettor, I look at a horse like this, and it's not like we're going, oh, she's dropping in class, right? Because I know that sometimes that's enough for a horse to win. But when you hear handicappers or you see someone go, oh, I like this horse because they're dropping in class, that's fine. But I need a little bit more than that when I'm going to really get excited about a horse. And I need multiple things and multiple reasons. So for this horse, we showed you the start. Slow start, missed the break. Barn, really, really good off the bench. The race is not a strong race. The other horses in this field, we don't really like very much. This horse is dropping in class. The pattern and the work tab, very, very solid. Now let's check a look at the race that they exit. So the race has come back live. The third place finisher, Scenic Masterpiece, came back to win a maiden special weight in their next start. Now let's look at the pedigree. Top Performance, the dam, she didn't race, but she did drop one sib one foal other than Violent Runner. That horse was a Brad Cox trainee that won by 8 lengths at Keeneland, going 6.5 furlongs on the dirt. This horse could not win, but she checks 5 different boxes of things that I would like. She had a legitimate excuse in her debut. She comes out of a live race. She's got a barn that's got really good numbers with these relevant statistics. Her tab is really, really nice. And she's a good price in a race where I don't love everyone else.
Right.
It's like
absolutely
a lot of little things that you look for. So I basically have made sure that she's going to run dead last now.
Also,
right?
That horse is the lone 4-year-old in this race, which I think is an advantage also.
Especially at this point of the year right now. You know, it's still earlier enough in the year where these 3-year-olds they just don't have that much experience, and you're still spotting them some some muscle, some development, some maturity, all of that. And that's race number 6 on Saturday as we continue along the Santa Anita card on Saturday. You said your next play is where?
Race 9.
Okay, let me get you one more in between there with the numbers. Race number 7. I'm going to go towards the outside. I'm on a lot of Ruben Alvarado horses this weekend. There's a lot of Alvarado horses, and we're talking about Respect My Candor. So Respect My Candor did not race from November 20th of 2020 to April the 10th of 2022. So a long, long layoff. And then off the layoff, this is the race we're going to watch. She's the number 2 in here, and she is a 6-year-old mare. So she's down towards the inside. She's in some traffic right away. Now you can see she's the 2. Traffic, boom, leg shuffled back. She just lost the length of positioning. Oh, now the 1's going to start to back a little behind, and now just nowhere to go down on the rail. I don't like when you're in like the 3rd or 4th flight like that too, because you've got just tiers of horses in front of you that you've just got to wait behind, and you're at the mercy of what they do. So Respect My Candor just kind of sits behind horses and then gets an opening right here and moves through this opening and angles around. But the problem is she just doesn't angle around quite quick enough to hit this hole like she wanted to. So now she's kind of still in between horses, but she still keeps trying. Now she angles down like to the inside a little, and she's still trying here all the way. I kept thinking she was going to get tired and back up. She actually wins this photo, which I love. There's a 3-horse photo there for 4th, and she digs down and wins. And that was, she was 48-1 in that race. And that was in her first start since November of 2020. She had every right there in that 3-horse battle to just get tired and finish 6th between those 3, right? But she's got a little fight in her. I like that. And when you dig into some of her prior races, they're really not bad at all. She can absolutely stack up with this group. So She was down here. Respect my candor. So you could see, a lot of this. Some of her stuff was on the synthetic, but against like first level allowance company, I think she fits pretty well in here off of that long layoff. Second start back, she's had a month now, over a month to recover. Because if you have that, you come back off a long layoff. I want to make sure you get time for your second start back, because then sometimes you bounce off of that first start if you come back again real quickly. Respect my candor. She is 8-1 on the morning line, and this 6-year-old mare, she'll only cost us $3,000 in our stable dual lineups, Barry. So that one for me in race number 7. As we finish up the 9-race card at Santa Anita, I'll mention one quick one in the 8th, and then I know Barry's got a get out play in the 9th. Clear Eyes, Full Hearts, can't lose. QB1, baby. QB1, which I think was initially it was Jason, and then it was Saracen. Then it was Maddie Saracen, I believe, after Jason got hurt. But QB1, it's a pattern that you can look at pretty easily, and it makes sense. So debuted in a race where it was just a tough race. It was a little too tough for him. Shaz was your winner that day. Shaz is undefeated for Baffert. The third place finisher, Soy Tapatio, was just in the Ali Sheba and ran in the Santa Anita handicap. I mean, if you toss his 2 races against Graded Stakes Company, he's pretty nice. And Soy Tapatio has twice lost to Shaz also. So his form would probably look a little better without having to deal with Shaz. Even Elector, who was in that race, came back and won his next 2, earning 97 and 95 buyer speed figures. So QB1 debuted in a very, very live maiden special weight race. He just got outrun that day. He came back in his second start, and it was after a few months. It was on March the 27th, and he was a fine third. Showed a little bit of improvement that day, and he stretched out to a mile. It was a race that you could play him off of, but on April the 17th, he just was all over the place. He was at the back. He was like rank. He was not comfortable at all. Now the blinkers go on. And I think that's a real key for him. And he's going to make his third start of the form cycle now with the blinkers going on. And I've really seen these workouts perk up recently, the last couple. And I don't know if it was by design or if it was natural or if it's the blinks coming on, but I feel like you're going to see this horse get a lot more speed out of him here and maybe a little more focus with QB1, who is 5-1 on the morning line. Will cost you $6,000 in your stable dual lineup with Richard Mandela, Drayden Van Dyke, and Spendthrift Farms teaming up on QB1.
Yeah, may have a rabbit in there in the stablemate in the 5.
Yep, just in there to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think at least from what it looks like, the blinkers on the 3, probably to try to get this horse closer, not necessarily be on the lead, but just closer. And I think that would make it right. I think that would make a world of difference here.
Yeah, because you'll probably have one more bid forwardly placed in here, you'd imagine, and you'll probably have the 6 Gojo 1 forwardly placed. And like you said, a horse like Troubadour can be in there just to keep them honest and to make sure that they do go quick early. And if not, then a horse like Troubadour can get ridden to win, right? But
Yeah.
but just make sure that it's honest enough to give QB1 a shot in here. The number 3 QB1. Let's get out. Let's finish up and head to race number 9 at Santa Anita, the closing race on Saturday, May the 14th. Remember, get to StableDuel.com and you can check out the context schedule. If you head to StableDuel.com, you can click directly and it'll take you to a link where you can download the Stable Duel app. It is totally free to download. And this weekend, Sniper, there are a couple free games for anyone out there. If you've watched our show, if you've seen me post about Stable Duel, if you've seen people post graphics, but you didn't know what it was, these free games are perfect chances for you to test it out. It doesn't cost you a cent. You can win actual money. And then if you win, you'll have a few bucks in your Stable Duel account and you can start playing in those actual bigger cash money contests. And we're going to be alive for some big money heading into the 9th and final at Santa Anita. And where are we looking to close things out?
We're going with the longest shot on the board.
Okay.
The 7.
Nice. I like it. Let's talk about
Song of Fire. Yeah. this horse really hasn't run a bad race, to be honest with you. I know, lately, running with cheaper or more inexpensive horses. Uh,
The
you know, the
politically correct way to say it.
exactly, yeah. We got the 25,000, condition claimers, flamed up some money there when that horse got claimed from the Sadler barn, but came back and ran a bang up race in this at the same level, and then stepping up second time off the claim into this spot shows confidence in this horse going to this mile trip. The last workout on May 8th was a bullet at Los Al, and I don't think this horse needs to improve a whole heck of a lot to win this race. I mean, everybody kind of looks the same.
I know.
Um, and I think the difference here is the claim, the win, and now the step up. There's plenty of speed for this horse to run at. You got,
Yep.
Sky on Ice has speed. With this Val's definitely going to go to the lead. You got a horse like Virulente that'll probably have to kind of get out there and try to get position. The only horse that kind of scares me that might be kind of a closing type would be Jimmy Smoke Carrot, the 2.
Yeah.
But I think this horse has a better, more upside than that one. I mean, even the 8 has a ton of speed here.
Yeah.
The 10 has to get out and go. So I think the pace is going to be really, really honest. And on the step up, I think they think this horse is a lot better than what he's been showing. Maybe he's gotten to the right hands. He found whatever worked. And I think they're going to try to strike while the iron is hot. Clearly, the horse is in good form.
Yeah, the 7 makes a ton of sense. If you're playing like late exotics, I think Song of Fire is a very nice price horse to include. I made my top pick, and I may throw this horse in Stable Duel, Virulente, who you mentioned a little bit, just because she had trouble in like 3 consecutive races where she sort of got stuck, and then they put her in a lot softer spot last time out. That was way softer, and they did exactly what they were hoping. She got a much easier trip, and she beat a group that she was way better than. And so now she's just got to step up and maybe just save all the ground. Like you said, if she saves ground, maybe she gets the jump on some of the closers in here because it looks like there's a pretty good amount of speed. So I wouldn't talk you off using a horse like this in some of your late exotics too. She's 6-1. She could be like a nice middle price horse. But Song of Fire at 15-1 only cost you, 500 in your Stable Duel lineup. So a very nice way to end the day at Santa Anita on Saturday, and a nice way to be able to put your lineups together. Sniper, my man, always love our Friday mornings. I look forward to it. We missed our buddy Matt DeSantis this morning, but shout out to Matt. Everyone's got to handle some biz sometimes. Matt will be back with us next week. We'll be talking Preakness and getting you all set up for Preakness weekend. I was joking with Emily Gullickson, who I was asking if she'll come and help out with and I was like, I said, Emily, you want to talk next week? We can talk a little, get your preak on. We can talk a little getting preaky with it. We can talk a little. And I kept going, and I said, I'll stop myself. I'll stop myself before we get out of hand. Because I was like, I can really have just kept going there for a long time with all the different ways. But no more Kegasis. We don't got our buddy Kegasis out there anymore? That guy.
I don't know. We need
right?
to. We need
that guy
him
used
back.
to be out there pounding the beers, and we get the toilet run. Everyone does the porta potty jumps over there on the so craziness on the Preakness infield, and we'll be getting you all set up next week for Preakness weekend. What do you got going on this weekend, my friend? What are you going to be up to?
Hanging out. Probably going to the beach. Yeah, going to the beach tomorrow, and same old stuff.
Spending some time with the family. I got to give you a shout out. I saw happy birthday to Breezy. How old now is Breezy?
She's 9. She's
Woo!
9.
Old
I
man.
know,
I love
right?
that. I love that video. Getting to see you through the years there, looking sharp and
young.
Man, I was gonna say sharp and young. Yeah, we're old ass men now. Jeez, we are old fogies, but we'll have some fun, and we'll always be here with you each and every Friday. Barry, buddy, thank you so much. You have a fantastic rest of your Friday. Good luck at Gulfstream. Good luck over at Santa Anita, And I hope you have an awesome weekend. We'll be back talking some more next weekend. And folks, we'll just give you one more plug. If you're looking throughout the weekend for some extra stuff to play, check out Louisiana Downs. I'll be hanging out Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday over on the track feed there. 7-race card. So just a couple hours throughout the day, especially on Monday and Tuesday, if you're looking for a track to play. They've got that late pick 4 that always starts in race 4. It's just a 15% takeout. And what I love about tracks like Louisiana Downs, turf racing and dirt racing too. So you can get some really nice value for some horses on the grass all throughout the card. So that'll be coming up this weekend. Every single Friday, we'll be here with you for This Weekend in Stable Duel, getting you all set up with your best bets at Stable Duel. You can get those entries in and play, race, win. Barry, my friend, you have a great one. Everyone out there, you have a nice weekend. Starting soon, we want to start hearing more from you. If you're watching and hanging out with us, throw in some comments. Let us know if you have any best bets, any plays, any races that we're looking at that we may have not talked about, a horse that you like. And we'll see you back here next week. Right now, the soothing sounds of Joey Cleveland. Take it away.
Better. You want to spread your pony knowledge wide. Oh, better. I got a place where winning ain't tough to do. You want to be cool, Stable Duel. Your horse racing fantasy come true.